Hello everybody and welcome to the February 4th, 2019 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. So, the most recent controversy, and by that I mean the one that basically took up the entire news all weekend, involved Virginia Governor, Democrat Ralph Northam. Is that how it's pronounced? It's one of those things that's just kind of hard to pronounce and you always feel like you're pronouncing it wrong. You ever notice that? You ever see a name like it? That's besides the point. Anyway, he's currently being used as proof that Democrats are the real racists and black people are just stupid for voting for them. I still don't get it, but I'm not crazy, so... Okay, that's a lie, I kind of am. But what did he do? Was he named after a famous Confederate like Jeff Sessions? Did he say he had no issue with white supremacy like Representative Steve King? Actually, he made a tasteless joke at a party 35 years ago where he took a picture in either blackface or a Klan hood. We aren't quite sure which at the moment. That's it? Honest to God, that's it? 35 years ago, he was unfunny. Oh no! For the record, there are some actions that I do believe you should never be forgiven for. One of those is, for instance, rape. However, being an unfunny racist isn't beyond forgiveness. I think that needs to be established. I saw these Republicans on Twitter saying this is what they did to Kavanaugh. No, Kavanaugh was accused of rape. Northam's accused of being an unfunny rapist. A very unfunny rapist. It should be noted that there has been no sign since that he is in any way racist, including the fact that he picked that his lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, is black. And he didn't really seem to have an issue with this, but white Republicans did, and apparently they're the experts on what black people think. Of course, many Republicans also tried to make it sound like they're just angry about his pro-abortion stance. Yet they still use this to scream for 3 weeks straight about how Democrats are the real racists, with Charlie Kirk just vomiting out the well-known Hugo Black falsehood that I've debunked several times, that I'm not even going to get into here, as well as falsehoods about the passing of the Civil Rights Act. Most notably, he never noticed that Democrats had a supermajority and could have easily stopped the act from passing if they wanted to, and yet it still went into law. Makes you think. But here's the rest of what happened. Because he did apologize, then he denied he was in the photo, then he apologized again, then he said he was dressing up as Michael Jackson next to a guy in a Klan mask. That actually sounds horrible. Then he denied he was in the photo again. He nearly moonwalked, I'm not making that one up. And then he said he'd use facial recognition software to prove it wasn't him in a hood. And people are more mad about the photo itself than the fact that he contradicted his original story 7 different times over a couple of days. I think that shows just how broke our political system is. Anyway, while everyone was accusing Democrats of being racist, a black Democrat announced his presidential campaign. It doesn't make much sense. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Cory Booker is running for president. I hate Cory Booker. There is no nice way to put it. I absolutely cannot stand Cory Booker. For those who do not remember, Cory Booker first got a national spotlight about a couple of years ago now, when Bernie Sanders introduced a bill to import drugs from Canada, therefore lowering the cost. He was against this because apparently they wouldn't be safe enough, despite the fact Canada has stricter regulations, and most of the drugs are just being outported to Canada and then imported back into the United States. But Cory Booker doesn't know that because he has brains made of, how do I put, octopus tentacles. That's my best guess. Of course, he really got attention during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, where he went to the Senate Judiciary Committee floor, said that he was going to illegally release a document that was legally released the night before, and declared himself Spartacus. Not making that up. Probably the most pathetic shift in Cory Booker's career, mind you, has been his move from a relative centrist, in fact, quite frankly, a Republican, in the Democratic Party, to this pretend leftist that he never actually became. Back when he was mayor of New York, because that's, by the way, just a city in New Jersey, not New York, is what I sometimes hear it as accidentally. Just in case I get it wrong in the future, by the way. He was best friends with people like then New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Really? Really? He's also gone back and forth on universal health care about 8 different times now. Which is what I expect from him, quite frankly. You know, sometimes he's for a public option, sometimes he's for banning private insurance, sometimes he's for no single payer, sometimes he's for, look, I just want to give people good health care. As opposed to my opponent, who actively goes out there and says that people should not have health care and that we need more people to die. I really don't like Cory Booker. I cannot stress enough my dislike for Cory Booker. Okay, that's unfair. I'm letting 1 or 2 votes get to me more than I should, more than likely. I'll admit that here and now. As Cory Booker does have some things about him that I do think are important to bring in the race. For instance, he's more critical of military intervention in Syria and is actually one of the few candidates to support a 2-state solution in Israel. While most are, well, Zionists, and we're getting a couple here and there in the Democratic Party who are just actively right-to-return activists, neither of which are particularly good solutions in my opinion. Mostly because neither of them work. He also wants to scale down armed forces in Afghanistan, but that's really the thing that bothers me about Cory Booker. He's going out there trying to declare himself a giant liberal, while at the same time voting in a centrist manner and always talking in a centrist manner. That's what really gets to me, and it bothers the heck out of me. You know, he'll go out there and argue for these decently left-wing policies, and then say, but I'm a giant centrist, guys. Listen, I believe in compromise and bipartisanship, and it's just so great, man. I mean, no, at that point, you're a progressive, and you don't care about bipartisanship when you're supporting unpopular opinions. And that's fine. We need that in the Senate sometimes. But Cory just doesn't want to be that while he's being that, and it's very weird. I don't know, it's a little hard to explain, but watch one of his speeches every now and again, and you'll get this impression he's not entirely comfortable with his opinions. So, would I support Cory Booker in 2020? Yes. However, that is only if Gabbard and Warren drop out of the race, and if Yang drops out of the race, and if a coconut hits me on the head. If all of that were to happen, then I will back Cory Booker. I'm Ephrom, and good night.